Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about the biggest Go service increase since last year, which is actually saying a lot because there's been a lot of Go service increases in the last little bit. So before we get started, I just want to shamelessly plug Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, you guys know. Go follow us on all the platforms because we love having discussions with you over there. Now, let's get to the video. So, the service increases that just got announced today, and yes, they were announced just this morning, so it's been a very quick turnaround time for this video. The service increases are some of the most interesting and honestly some of the best we've seen in a long time. Of course, last year around this time we got the significant Lakeshore East service improvement as well as the Lakeshore West, which brought Lakeshore East up to 15-minute all-day service, well, 15-minute midday service, and 20-minute midday service for the Lakeshore West. Well, today is not as much focused on the Lakeshore line, which is actually a big deal since some people on the internet have been calling Metrolinx Lakeshore Links because, well, it seems like all the service improvements that happen on the Lakeshore line, which, to be honest, makes sense because the Lakeshore line is kind of the crown jewel of the Go network. Today really was about the Kitchener line. Now, before we talk about that, I do want to mention that yes, there was some Lakeshore service improvements. There will be a few more midday Lakeshore East trains, which is a lot of trains given that we already have 15-minute service. There will also be some additional Lakeshore West trains, so 2 more trains in the morning to West Harbour Go, which is great to see since the station is painfully underutilized. No word of all-day service to West Harbour or Hamilton yet, but I think that's something that we can expect in the relatively near future. Once the track connections are made at West Harbour as well, trains going out to Niagara on the weekends will be able to hit West Harbour as well. And that is the other big piece on the Lakeshore West. The weekend service to Niagara that existed for the past couple summers, well, that's now all year-round service to Niagara on the weekends. And this is actually very interesting. Now, the summer service to Niagara has been super successful for Go, and so I think extending it to all year-round makes a ton of sense. Niagara is a huge tourism destination, and it remains a significant tourism destination even in the fall, spring, and winter. And so having that extra train service is fantastic. It also can be used for people who just want to spend a weekend in Niagara. And that's really, really valuable in my opinion. The great thing that you see here is that Go is starting to act a bit like Amtrak California, intercity rail within Ontario, in places that VIA doesn't serve very well. So that's very exciting to me. Now, I'm also very excited to say that the Stouffville line is finally getting hourly weeknight service. Now, unfortunately, no weekend service is coming yet, and that's not hugely surprising given the fact that weekends are used primarily for construction on the double tracking and the improvements to the stations on the Stouffville line right now. However, that hourly weeknight service is hugely useful. See, the thing is, right now, with hourly midday service, the benefit is not huge. See, if you want to go do something in Toronto late at night, you're not able to get back using the train unless you're at Union before 8 o'clock, which most events like concerts, games, etc., you're not going to be able to be done before 8 o'clock, which means you're going to have to catch a bus, and the buses don't stop at Agincourt, Kennedy, or Milliken, which technically are huge potential growth stations versus something like Unionville. So I think the fact that there's trains at these times now makes a ton of sense. It's awesome. It also means that the service that was midday is much more valuable because now people can, say, go downtown in the afternoon, go eat dinner, and then go see a concert or a sports game, which is awesome to see. Now, it's not weekend service, but it's a great starting point, and now we are actually seeing trains going hourly all day, so weekend service is not a huge jump from that. The other fantastic thing is that these trips all go to Mount Pleasant. For someone like me who lives relatively near Milliken Go, that's awesome because if I want to go visit Markville Mall, for example, and get off at Centennial Go, I can easily do that and then hop back on the train and come back down to Milliken. These sort of little features and little trips you can make on the Go network are the type of thing Go needs to be encouraging more of, because that's where they're going to get a lot of incremental ridership. I think it also shows a lot how powerful the just introducing hourly service can be. If you look at something like the Lakeshore lines, adding service to basically double the frequency on those lines, well, now you're going to have to add an additional 4 trains per hour. Doubling the frequency on the Stouffville line right now will only need an extra 1 train per hour. So you can see that getting up to an hourly service and then maybe a half-hourly service isn't that hard for Go. It's getting past that actually begins to become expensive. So these service improvements on the Lakeshore line and Stouffville are super exciting, but Kitchener is where all the great service improvements happened. So now there's hourly service to Brampton. And at first I thought, oh, that's cool. Well, I should say Bramalea, not Brampton Go, which is a distinction that actually does matter. Hourly service is eventually planned to come to Brampton Go, but for now it's just going to be terminating at Bramalea Go. Nonetheless, this is super exciting because it means now 5 out of 7 Go lines have hourly 2-way all-day service during the week. 4 of them have all-day 2-way service during the weekend. And this is super exciting because that means that we're actually starting to get into the ramp up to RER service. In fact, Bramalea is where the 15-minute service on RER is actually going to terminate, so it's super exciting to see that it's starting to get that hourly service to start building the ridership that will be basically needed to fill all those trains coming every 15 minutes in the future. Beyond that, there's also some additional trips out to Kitchener and a really awesome trip which heads from Kitchener back to downtown Toronto in the afternoon. This is super, super exciting because what it means is that perhaps someone who wants to commute from Toronto to Kitchener could actually do that, or someone coming back from the University of Waterloo on a Friday to Toronto could do that as well. There's lots of awesome kind of options added by this. And in addition, since this is evening service as well, the same kind of opportunities to go to things like concerts and sports games will actually exist on the Kitchener line. All of this is just awesome, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to improve Go's ridership. There is a ton more service now than there was last year, and in the past, where the Lakeshore line and then maybe a bit of the Barrie line had all the service improvements, we're starting to see hourly service on significant portions of the network that aren't the Lakeshore line, and it's super exciting. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. We've been super busy, which is why the cadence of our video releases has slowed down a bit. But over the next few weeks, as we kind of close out our summer internships, because yes, we're working summer internships right now, we'll be able to start ramping back up with the content, and since we'll be back at university for the coming year, we'll be able to do a lot more kind of subway content and stuff like that. Anyways, thanks for watching as always, guys. Go leave a comment down below telling me what you want to do with this awesome new Go service, and as always, have a good night.